Good morning, everyone. I'm going to open this meeting for the Polk County Board of Commissioners for Tuesday, April 29th, 2025. All commissioners are present. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item up is for comments for items not on the agenda. No takers today. Okay, you had your shot. Looking for approval of the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, passed unanimously. Approval of minutes of April 8th.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, passed unanimously. CAFA grant and resolution number 25-08. Well, good morning.
Do I need to say my name for the record?
I think you should, yes. The whole world audience doesn't yet know who you are.
Full title, credentials.
Oh my gosh. Caitlin D'Agostini, Finance Director, Polk County. I was like, are we good? Tax collector. Yes. Okay, so before you, I sent resolution 2508. And that is for the CAFA grant that we do every single year that helps the funding for the assessor's office and some of tax collection, BOPTA, which is now PVAB, and RGIS and IS programs. And in the memo I wrote also has all the expenditures for those programs, and it shows that only a portion of those actually get attributed to the calculation of CAFA. And we get very little back from the state in support for the program. But there is legislation coming. I'm not sure if Valerie wants to talk more on it. She's been following that more than I have on hopefully some increase of funding from the state, or at least a redistribution of how the funds will be allocated to the counties. So yes.
So let me take you back some, and you can call up assistance if you'd like.
By all means.
Talk about what CAFA means. What is the acronym for? How long have we been doing this? Why are we doing this process? And what does it mean for the public so that they understand why we're having this conversation?
Or I'd love to phone a friend.
Yes.
Valerie, if I could get you up here.
So we don't talk about this very often. And when we do, it can be, this can sound very bureaucratic. So I want to break it down just a little bit here so folks have an understanding what we're talking about.
Yes, so CAFA stands for the County Assessment Function Funding Assessment Program. So in my words, it would be everything related to county assessment and collection. A portion of our costs get funded by the state.
Right. I believe CAFA was created back in 1989, and the state recognized that they had a joint that they needed to support the counties because they were failing in doing their statutory duties. And so CAFA was created. And it was a portion of the state general fund. It was doc recording fees and a percentage of delinquent interest. And over time, that percentage that counties were being funded has consistently dropped. The hope was that it was to fund about 30 to 35% of assessment and taxation offices across the state. We're down to now about 11%. Funded. So the county assessors and tax collectors have a lobbyist, and we've hit it pretty hard this year. We have a bill, House Bill 3518, where we're looking to restructure how we're funded. We're wanting to increase our doc recording fees. We are substituting a percentage of delinquent interest for a percentage of tax collection. And in addition, we're looking for a contribution from the state general fund, which went away around 2000, I believe was the last year we received anything from the state. So we're looking for a three-legged approach to, for sustainable county assessment and taxation funding. So we're doing everything that we can at this point to lobby and gain traction. And our lobbyist is working hard. I don't really have an update as far as where that's at, just that we're working hard behind the scenes and working with all the different jurisdictions that potentially could oppose a bill. And hopefully we will see some success.
What she said.
So you said we were at 35%. Was that the level of the 1989 legislation? Is that where it started at 35? And then I guess my question is, what's facilitated that change from 35 to 11%? Has that been just inflation?
I think our costs have outpaced the CAFA distribution. Expenses have exceeded the growth and what they're getting back. And, you know, percentage of doc recording fees funds it. And as you know, doc recording fees depends on the market, it depends on interest rates, and it ebbs and flows over the years, as does the market. It's just not stable. And and it also hasn't kept up with the cost of living. So we're looking, our bill actually has that built in, an adjustment for cost of living. I think it's adjusted by is it the CPI? Yeah. So, and then the 0.3% of tax collection also keeps pace with the market, because that's just always growing. Our tax base grows over the years, so that is just just in and of itself, it will keep pace with the change. So
Clarification, you said 3%?
0.3.
0.3.
Yes, 0.3. That's a
what
big
people
difference.
Understand it's
Yeah.
0.3%.
Yeah. And I looked at Polk County's what we have received over the years. And let me see if I can find it. If I had known you were going to ask that, I would have had that on the top. I think at one point, Polk County had received almost 50% of from CAFA we were funded, but since then it has drastically dropped. So it's kind of been a bell curve for Polk County.
I was looking back at a letter that Greg had written to the board for CAFA grant in like 2015. And I want to say that the rate was like close to 30% or 26% in 2015. And now we're sitting at about 11.
So I went back to 1996, 97, and 25% was what we were funded from CAFA. And then it looks like it peaked in 2003, and we're at 48%. And then it has consistently dropped. And yes, in 2015, we're at 28%. And yeah, so this year we're at 11.
Okay. I think that makes it as clear as mud for the public. Be prepared for questions.
The other element that reduced funding is people are tending to pay their taxes on time. Delinquencies are down compared to when it started. When I first started here, the penalty for interest on delinquent taxes was less than the interest you could get on CDs, so people didn't pay right away. It was better to keep your money rather than pay taxes. We had a collection rate of about 92%. Now we're at 98.5%. So the amount of delinquencies has also reduced, which is part of the pot that you draw from to get funded with. So there are a lot of elements, but the state is notorious for starting out high and reducing. We've seen it in DA salaries, we see it in A&T. So there are a lot of history that shows this trend by the state, so. That's the bottom line for it.
I appreciate your and your association's advocacy and Commissioner Mordhorst for testifying in support of the bill. It is a troubling trend and it irks me that there are no state general fund contributions now, yet there are transfers that we have to make from our general fund to fund state mandated services for taxpayers, and more burden is being put on our property tax payers. And it's not okay, especially in this budgetary climate that's affecting local governments across the state. So appreciate that advocacy. Just want to plug that we provide a lot of mandated services and we fund them ourselves. And the state does not always partner super well with us. And this downward trend is not sustainable. So appreciate all your work on that.
The work that the assessor's offices does is vital to the health of all of the districts that we serve. For a lot of the districts, it's their number one asset is property tax.
That's right.
And without a strong property tax base, they can't do the work that they need to do. So we all need to work together. So, help us help you.
So you're looking for a motion there, Chair? I'd like to move that we move forward the CAFA grant and resolution 2508.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pass unanimously. Thank you, ladies. Do
Good job, ladies.
we have any non-listed items?
Yes, sir. No, sir.
Okay. We are adjourned.